Good morning, family. Listen, I want to share something from my reading this morning so that we can remind ourselves and be cognizant, learn from Samson's errors, right? I was reading here in the book of Judges, Samson's story, and what came to my spirit at the conclusion of it, we must learn from Samson's error. You know, his flesh wasn't fully crucified and he didn't properly guard his heart, although he had the favor of the Father with him. God was with Samson, and the power of God was showed through Samson's life, his strength. God never allowed his enemies to gain ascendancy over him until Samson fell into the trap of his flesh, right? And so I just want to share my reading this morning. I hope you guys rested well. I'm sipping on me some of this Ultimate Defense orange, pineapple, ginger. It's got turmeric, over 500 milligrams of turmeric, and it is very good for the body. All right, it's got probiotics, ginger, black pepper, 300 milligrams of vitamin C. But anyway, so you that have your Bibles, if you want to follow along, let's feed our spirits with some words coming from the Geneva Bible. And the Geneva Bible supersedes the King James Version Bible. It was written 50 plus years prior to King James Version. And so we're going to be reading from this and whatever version you have available. If you want to follow along, let's follow along. But we're going to start in the book of Judges and go from Judges chapter 14, and we're going to read all the way through chapter 16. All right, so let's read here and see what we can learn. All right, it says, starts at 14 verse 1. Chapter 14, Judges chapter 14 verse 1. Now Samson went down to Timnah and saw a woman in Timnah of the daughters of the Philistines. And he came up and told his father and his mother and said, I have seen a woman in Timnah of the daughters of the Philistines. Now therefore give me her to wife. He wanted them to help him. Verse 3. Then his father and his mother said unto him, Is there never a wife among the daughters of thy brethren and among all my people, that thou must go to take a wife of the uncircumcised Philistines? And Samson said unto his father, Give me her, for she pleaseth me well. He didn't care. He didn't want to think. He already know he done saw this pretty woman with his eyes, and that's who he want. He want his parents to get him this woman to wife now. She's pleasing to him physically. So verse 4, but his father and his mother knew not that it came of the Lord that he should seek an occasion against the Philistines, for at that time the Philistines reigned over Israel. Then went Samson and his father and his mother down to Timnah, and came to the vineyards of Timnah, and behold, a young lion roared upon him. And the Spirit of the Lord came upon him, and he tear him as one should have rent a kid, and had nothing in his hand. Neither told he his father nor his mother what he had done. And he went down and talked with the woman. So you see, he had supernatural strength already. And he went down and talked with the woman, which was beautiful in the eyes of Samson. And within a few days, when he returned to receive her, he went aside to see the carcass of the lion. And behold, there was a swarm of bees and honey in the body of the lion. And he took thereof in his hands, and went eating, and came to his father and to his mother, and gave unto them. And they did eat, but he told not them that he had taken the honey out of the body of the lion. Verse 10. So his father went down unto the woman, and Samson made there a feast, for so used the young men to do. So he got the young men to help make a feast. And when they saw, so his father went down unto the woman, and Samson made there a feast, for so used the young men to do. So that's what must be, is the occasion of the young men to do, make a feast. And when they saw him, they brought 30 companions to be with him. Then Samson said unto them, I will now put forth a riddle unto you, and if you can declare it me within 7 days of the feast and find it out, I will give you 30 sheets and 30 change of garments. But if you cannot declare it me, then shall ye give me 30 sheets and 30 change of garments. So that's the deal he made with the Philistine man, right? And they answered him, Put forth thy riddle that we may hear it. And he said unto them, Out of the eater came meat, and out of the strong came sweetness. And they could not in 3 days expound the riddle. And when the seventh day come, they said unto Samson's wife, Entice thy husband, that he may declare us the riddle, lest we burn thee and thy father's house with fire. Have ye called us to possess us? Is it not so? So they threatened his wife. And Samson's wife wept before him and said, Surely thou hatest me and lovest me not, for thou hast put forth a riddle unto the children of my people, and hast not told it me. And he said unto her, Behold, I have not told it my father nor my mother, and shall I tell thee? Then Samson's wife wept before him 7 days, while their feast lasted. And when the seventh day came, he told her, because she was importunate upon him. So his heart was weak for his woman. So she was importunate upon him. So she told him the riddle to the children of her people. And the men of the city came unto him the seventh day before the sun went down. What is sweeter than honey, and what is stronger than a lion? Then said he unto them, If ye had not plowed with my heifer, ye had not found out my riddle. And the Spirit of the Lord came upon him, and he went down to Ashkelon, and slew 30 men of them, and spoiled them, and gave change of garments unto them, which expounded the riddle. And his wrath was kindled, and he went up unto his father's house. Then Samson's wife was given to his companion, whom he had used as a friend. So they did Samson dirty, right? He was angry. He was disappointed with his wife, and after he went and killed those men, he held up to his bargain and gave them the garments. But then he went back to his father's house just because he was upset with his wife. When he went back to his father's house, his wife was given to his best friend, his closest friend. These people were dirty, but had he listened and thought about what his father said, he may not have never taken a Philistine woman, right? But it was all designed for him to have taken that Philistine woman. Let's go to verse 15. Now, Samson, chapter 15. That concludes chapter 14, chapter 15. But within a while after, move Daniel. But within a while after, in the time of the wheat harvest, Samson visited his wife with a kid, saying, I will go in to my wife into the chamber. But her father would not suffer him to go in. Right? So after he got over his anger, he wanted to go back to his wife. And her father said, I thought that thou hast hated her, therefore gave I her to thy companion. Is not her younger sister fairer than she? Take her, I pray thee, instead of the other. Then Samson said unto them, Now am I more blameless than the Philistines? Therefore will I do them displeasure. And Samson went out and took 300 foxes, and took firebrands, and turned them tail to tail, and put a firebrand in the midst between two tails. And when he had set the brands on fire, he sent them out into the standing corn of the Philistines, and burnt up both the ricks and the standing corn with the vineyards and olives. Then the Philistines said, Who hath done this? And they answered, Samson, the son-in-law of the Timnite, because he had taken his wife and given her to his companion. Then the Philistines came up and burnt her and her father with fire. And Samson said unto them, Though ye have done this, yet will I be avenged of you. Then I will cease. So he smote them hip and thigh with a mighty plague. Then he went and dwelt in the top of the rock Etam. Then the Philistines came up and pitched in Judah, and were spread abroad in Lehi. And the men of Judah said, Why are ye come up unto us? And they answered, To bind Samson are we come up, and to do him as he hath done to us. Then the 3,000 men of Judah went to the top of the rock Edom, and said to Samson, Knowest thou not that the Philistines are rulers over us? Wherefore then hast thou done this unto us? And he answered them, as they did unto me, so have I done unto them. So really, Samson just repaid them their evil, that their treachery that they kept doing. You know, they kept doing him dirty, and he just repaid them their wickedness. And the Lord was with Samson. And done unto them. Verse 12. Again they said unto him, we are come to bind thee and to deliver thee into the hand of the Philistines. And Samson said unto them, swear unto me that ye will not fall upon me yourselves. And they answered him, saying, no, but we will bind thee and deliver thee unto their hand, but we will not kill thee. And they bound him with 2 new cords and brought him from the rock. And when he came to Lehi, the Philistines shouted against him, and the Spirit of the Lord came upon him, and the cords that were upon his arms became as flax that was burnt with fire, for the bands loosed from his hands. And he found a new jawbone of an ass, and put forth his hands, and caught it, and slew 1,000 men therewith. Then Samson said, with the jaw of an ass are heaps upon heaps, with the jaw of an ass have I slain 1,000 men. Verse 17. And when he had left speaking, he cast away the jawbone out of his hand, and called that place Ramath Lehi. And he was sore athirst, and called on the Lord, and said, thou hast given this great deliverance into the hand of thy servant, and now shall I die for thirst, and fall into the hand of the uncircumcised? Then God brake the cheek tooth that was in the jaw, and water came there out. And when he had drunk, his spirit came again, and he was revived. Wherefore the name thereof is called En Hakor, which is in Lehi unto this day. And he judged Israel in the days of the Philistines 20 years. All right. That concludes chapter 15. Now we're going to go over to chapter 16. As you can see so far, we see that the Philistines are very treacherous people. They are intimidated by Samson. They fear his strength, and they want to take him out. They want to take him out, but they don't understand where he's getting all of his strength from. And Samson is simply getting his strength from God. He has God backing him, and that's where his power comes from. The power of God is working through Samson's, and he's supposed to have a power over the Philistines, you know, because God is with him, right? But we're going to keep going, and we're going to see how this thing plays out with Samson, if he maintains his power or if he loses it. Chapter 16. Then went Samson to Gaza, and saw there an harlot, whore, and went in unto her. So what does that tells us? That right there tells us Samson, he had the power and the favor of God, but his flesh was not disciplined. He had a desire for sex. He saw a whore that he wanted to be with, and he slept with that whore. So Samson is just, living how he wants to live, and with the uncrucified flesh. Verse 2. And it was told to the Gazites, Samson is come hither. And they went about and laid wait for him all night in the gate of the city, and were quiet all the night, saying, abide till the morning early, and we shall kill him. And Samson slept till midnight, and arose at midnight, and took the doors of the gates of the city, and the 2 posts, and lifted them away with the bars, and put them upon his shoulders, and carried them up to the top of the mountain that is before Hebron. And after this he loved a woman by the river of Sorek, whose name was Delilah. So now this is the 3rd woman that Samson, that is given here within these few chapters we've read. Now we see Delilah is the 3rd woman that Samson now has come into contact with. And it is telling us that he actually loved her. He loved Delilah, right? So after this, he loved a woman by the river of Sorek, whose name was Delilah. Verse 5. Unto whom came the princes of the Philistines, and said unto her. So now the Philistines has coming back to his woman again. So this is nothing new. This is like history repeating itself. But we're going to see if Samson knows, if he takes any different measures than he took with his wife. Because the Philistines came unto his wife and threatened her and had her betray Samson. And so you know, she caused him a lot of pain. But now we're going to see here they're coming to another woman that he loves, Delilah, and now they're offering her something. Let's see. They said unto her, entice him, and see wherein his great strength lieth, and by what means we may overcome him, that we may bind him and punish him. And every one of us shall give thee 1,100 shekels of silver. So now they've offered her money to betray Samson. They need to know where his strength comes from, because they recognize he's a very strong man. If they can find out where his strength comes from, they can try to take that away and diminish him, right? So verse 6, and Delilah said to Samson, tell me. So she straight away went straight to it. So that tells us, this tells me she never loved him. This tells me she never loved him, because unlike his wife, they came threatening her life and her father's life. But now with Delilah, they're coming offering money, bribing her, and she just straight away took the bribe. You know, even if she was intimidated by him, you know, when a woman loves a man, when you love somebody, you may be intimidated by those who come up upon you offering you something. And even if you say, okay, I'll do it, but if you really love that person, when you get with them, you're going to say, listen, you need to be careful. They came to me like this. We're going to, you know, you're going to try to strategize because you love them, right? But clearly Delilah she wanted the money, right? And so straight away we see her, she's now telling Samson, tell me, I pray thee, wherein thy great strength lieth, and wherewith thou mightest be bound to do thee hurt. Samson then answered unto her, if thou bind me with 7 green cords that were never dry, then shall I be weak and be as another man. And the princes of the Philistines brought her 7 green cords that were not dry, and she bound him therewith. And she had men lying in wait with her in the chamber. Then said she unto him, the Philistines be upon thee, Samson. And he brake the cords, and a thread of tow is broken, as a thread of tow is broken when it feeleth fire, so as his strength was not known. After Delilah said unto Samson, see, thou hast mocked me and told me lies. I pray thee, she said, Delilah is so deceptive. I pray thee now, tell me, wherewith thou mightest be bound. Verse 11, then he answered her, if they bind me with new ropes that never were occupied, then shall I be weak and be as another man. Delilah, and that tells us, he said, then I should be weak and be as another man. So that's telling us his strength was far greater than the average man, because the power of God was with Samson, right? It was working through him. So he was far greater. His strength was far greater than the average man. He was not a normal man. It reminds me of my uncle Abraham. I had a little small uncle, and he was so strong. I think I shared something on it before. My grandmother one time, she had a door. He was getting on her nerves, and she threw him in there. He was drunk one day, and she threw him in this little room she had, but it didn't have a doorknob. And she had me and my aunt bring a hanger, unravel a hanger, you know, a wire hanger. And she tied the hanger through the door, 2 of them, and just keep tying it and tied it in a knot and tell him that you stay in there. So we would go and look in the hole and pick at him. Hey, mama got you tied when you can't get out. And we just kept looking through the hole, picking at him, running. We just thought that was so funny, right? And he was like, you think I can't? He got up off the bed. He came to the door. He said, you think I can't get out? We said, no, you can't get out now. Mama got you tied in here, because it was tied from the outside. The knot was on the outside, so he couldn't get his hand through there. None of that. It was a little small hole. He opened his mouth, and I never forget this a day in my life. And he put his teeth, you know, the teeth, our front teeth are most sensitive. He put his 2 front teeth on a piece of that wire hanger. Y'all know the metal wire hangers, them old-fashioned bronze-looking metal wire hangers. He put his 2 front teeth on it, and he came down. He said, and that hanger said, and me and my younger aunt, we looked at each other. We was like, ah! It frightened us. She started crying. I ran, and I was laughing so much because I saw her crying. But our hearts trembled. I never in my life, we never saw anything like that. And then he started laughing, and he just fell back on the bed and lay down. He was drunk. He ain't tried to get out, but he wanted to show, you think I can't get out? He was so strong. And he was a short little thing. He would take 2 of his fingers, and he'll put them on your wrist, And I don't care. He'll even put them on a big man wrist. You ain't gonna move that wrist. You two, it make you feel like your finger be about to break, and your wrist be about to break. You know, and they would on Sundays sometimes when my grandma would cook, my uncles and stuff like that, my grandmother's sons and other cousins and stuff. And he married my aunt, my grandmother's sister, so he was my grandmother's brother, you know. And so on Sunday sometimes they'll be out in the yard wrestling. But what they would do is all the younger cousins and younger uncles, they would come up with a plot and say, they would say, two of us, we're gonna take the head, two gonna get the feet, we're gonna snatch him, slip him off his feet, because they would be wrestling. He was real strong. It would be like, and then they like, two gonna get the body. So they'll all like strategize or whatever. They would have him surrounded, but it would still be a challenge for them to get him when they would be wrestling. I'm telling you, I saw my uncle with the strength of Samson, you know. So I know what it means when a man has that supernatural strength is given by God, you know. And so anyway, that's what Samson was saying here pretty much. And then if you do this, then I should be like another man. Where was I? He said, verse 11, he said, then he answered her, if they bind me with new ropes that never were occupied, then shall I be weak and be as another man. Verse 12, Delilah therefore took new ropes and bound him therewith, and said unto him, the Philistines be upon thee, Samson. And men lay in wait in the chamber, and he brake them from his arms as a thread. Afterward Delilah said to Samson, hitherto thou hast beguiled me, and told me lies. Tell me how thou mightest be bound. And he said unto her, if thou plattest 7 locks of mine head with the threads of the wolf. And she fastened it with a pin, and said unto him, the Philistines be upon thee, Samson. And he awoke out of his sleep, and went away with the pin of the web and the wolf. And again she said unto him, how canst thou say I love thee, when thou heart is not with me? Thou hast mocked me these 3 times, and hast not told me wherein thy great strength lieth. This lady's so deceptive. And because she was importunate upon him with her words continually, same thing, sounds like history repeating itself, right? It's like his wife. And vexed him, his soul was pained unto death. She vexed his spirit. So you see, Samson really loved this woman, and that seemed to be his weakness, because he didn't put 2 and 2 together. It seems like the weakness of his flesh and his heart not being guarded is what caused his guards to come down and him to constantly give his secrets to these women, because he's done this before. Now he's doing it again. Whereas God has made him, giving him, the presence of God is with him. God is giving him power over the Philistines, right? But by him being weak to this woman, let's see what happens. By him telling her his secret, being weak to his flesh, because she's vexing his spirit now. He didn't guard his heart. And so now we see here where her words continually and vexed him. His soul was pained unto the death. Verse 17, therefore he told her all his heart, and said unto her, there never came a razor upon my head, for I am a Nazarite unto God from my mother's womb. Therefore, if I be shaven, my strength will go from me, and I shall be weak and be like all other men. So he's then now told her the secret, right? It's in my hair. My strength is in my hair. 18, and when Delilah saw that he had told her all his heart, she sent and called for the princes of the Philistines, saying, come up once again, for he hath showed me all his heart. Then the princes of the Philistines, and she had no mercy, no love. Then the princes of the Philistines came up unto her, and brought the money in their hands, and she made him sleep upon her knees. So she put him to sleep, and she called a man and made him to shave off the 7 locks of his head. And she began to vex him, and his strength was gone from him. Then she said, the Philistines be upon thee, Samson. And he awoke out of his sleep and thought, I will go out now as at other times and shake myself. But he knew not that the Lord was departed from him, because he gave away his strength. He gave away his secret through the weakness of his flesh and his heart. He didn't properly guard his heart. He loved her. You see, guard your heart. For everything we do, for out of it comes the issues of life. Therefore the Philistines took him and put out his eyes and brought him down to Gaza and bound him with fetters, and he did grind in the prison house. You see, it wasn't God's plan for the Philistines to take Samson. God was with him, but Samson fell because he didn't guard his heart. You see, if you go back to chapter 14, when he first wanted that woman, right, and his father told him, his father said, he asked him to go get the wife for him. Then his father and his mother said, is there never a wife among the daughters of daughters of thy brethren among all my people, that thou may go take a wife of the uncircumcised Philistines? And Samson said unto his father, give me her, for she pleases me well. But his father and his mother knew not that it came of the Lord, that he should seek an occasion against the Philistines. For at that time the Philistines reigned over Israel. You see, so God was with Samson. So God was with Samson because the Philistines had authority over Israel. But God had empowered Samson to overpower the Philistines. But here go Samson then now fell to the weakness of his flesh. He wasn't disciplined in his flesh. You see, what does Paul tell us? We got to crucify the flesh. The spirit and the flesh, they war against each other. What did Jesus tell the disciples when they were sleeping? He asked them to stay awake and pray. He knew he had to make that ultimate sacrifice. And while he was going to pray, they went to sleep. And he went back and woke them up again. He said, the spirit is willing, the flesh is weak. You see? And God was with Samson, but his flesh was weak. And he fell in love with another deceptive woman. And now he done repeated the same error from his past. He ain't learned that. See, we're supposed to learn from the errors of our past. The mistakes and the errors that I did in my 20s and 30s when I come across these things again. Now the devil does get a little bit more crafty and a little bit more clever, but we should be able to see, oh, I recognize you. You the one that came after me in my 20s. You ain't gonna come at me again like this. You see? You got to be able to recognize. And not saying that we won't mess up sometimes, because we will. A righteous man or woman may fall 7 times, but you're supposed to be able to get back up, brush yourself off, and now you done learn from that thing, and you can expound on it and shed light on it. Oh, because we've been given power over darkness. But Samson he done slept with a whore. He done meet another woman, Delilah. Now he in love again. See what I'm saying? And so this woman kept playing these games, and she just vexed his spirit. So he just went ahead. That was his weakness. And gave her the secret, and now they done pluck out his eyes, right? Therefore the Philistines took him, put out his eyes, and brought him down to Gaza, and bound him with fetters, and he did grind in the prison house. And the hair of his head began to grow again after that it was shaven. So now his power is starting to come back. Then the princes of the Philistines gathered them together for to offer a great sacrifice unto Dagon, their God. See, they didn't even serve our God. They didn't serve the God of Israel. You see, so it was never meant for them to have supersede the strength of Samson. It was never meant for that. But he fell to his own weakness. Their God, and to rejoice. So they were worshiping their God to rejoice. And they said, our God have delivered Samson, our enemy, into our hands. No, y'all God ain't delivered Samson. Samson's own weakness of his flesh. Verse 24. Also, when the people saw him, they praised their God, for they said, our God have delivered into our hands our enemy and destroyer of our country, which has slain many of us. And when their hearts were merry, they said, call Samson that he may make us pastime. See how evil these people are? They done pluck out the man's eyes. Now they want to call him that he may make us pastime. They want to make sport out of him, make mockery of him, that he could come out there while they're celebrating and they can rejoice because he can't see. They done pluck out his eyes. So now they want to just, pick at him. So they called Samson out of the prison house, and he was a laughing stock unto them, and they set him between the pillars. Then Samson said unto the servant that led him by the hand, lead me that I may touch the pillars that the house standeth upon, and that I may lean to them. He knew what he was going to do, boy. One thing I could say, Samson was a fighter. to the day he was 10 toes down to the day he died, right? Because even though he didn't have no eyes, he knew they calling him out there to pick on him. So he said, just lead me by the pillars of the house so I can lean on him. Because he, in his mind, he like, I'm gonna get you back. And if that was his character from the beginning. Every time they did something to him, he got them back, you know. And so anyway, he said, lead me that I may touch the pillars that the house standeth upon, and that I may lean to them. Verse 27. Now the house was full of men and women, and there were all the princes of the Philistines also upon the roof were about 3,000 men and women that beheld while Samson played. Then Samson called unto the Lord and said, O Lord, I pray thee, think upon me, O God, I beseech thee, strengthen me at this time only, that I may be at once avenged of the Philistines from my two eyes. Verse 29. And Samson laid hold on the two middle pillars whereupon the house stood, and on which it was borne up, on the one with his right hand, and on the other with his left. And then Samson said Samson, let me lose my life with the Philistines. And he bowed himself with all his might, and the house fell upon the princes and upon all the people that were therein. So the dead which he slew at his death were more than they which he had slain in his life. You see? So even though his eyes were plucked out, they'd taken his strength away from him because he gave his secret away. He let the enemy in. See? The enemy couldn't have taken nothing from Samson unless he let that guard down and come in. He had authority over his enemies. But even then, he fell to the weakness of his heart and his flesh. He didn't guard his heart properly. But God still heard Samson's prayer and answered Samson's prayer. The prayers of the righteous avail much. He answered Samson and allowed Samson to pay his enemies back. And Samson had the strength to pull them pillars up, and the house and everything fell on all of them. Verse 31. Then his brethren and all the house of his father came down and took him and brought him up and buried him between Zorah and Eshtaol in the sepulchre of Manoah his father. Now he had judged Israel 20 years. And that concludes chapter 16. And so, people of God, let's be encouraged to feed our spirit. When we are walking with God, it's easy for the enemy to creep in. It's easy for the enemy to send deceptive folk, you know. It's easy for the enemy to send somebody in to try to learn what they can learn in order to pull the children of God down. But when we stay under the word, when we keep feeding our spirit with the word, when we consistently crucify the flesh and let the spirit gain ascendancy over the flesh, it is a daily fight. But if we watch, if we pray, we will continue to reign over the adversary, the one that roams to and from, seeking whom he may devour. And if by chance you may fall, you may make a mistake, be honest, repent, brush yourself off, and you get back up and you keep on going, and God will be with you. A repentant heart is pleasing to God. A humble, pure, righteous heart, contrite spirit is pleasing to God, because he knows the enemy and he knows how he roams. You see, that no good servant, he's an accuser of the brethren. But we too got to be on our guard and not live through the flesh. The flesh ain't gonna never lead us to nothing that sustains us. Samson lost his life prematurely. He lost his power. He lost his eyes. He lost his strength because he gave away his secret to someone he loved, simply because he did not guard his heart. And they've been wanting to take him out for a very long time. They were intimidated by his strength. He had the favor of the Father with him. And it was not meant for them to supersede him. But all because he didn't learn from his past mistakes. You see, he gave away his secret. Now, had not he fallen in love, who knows how that story would have been written. But he fell in love with a treacherous woman. And his first wife, don't know if she really loved him, but she was threatened. She was threatened by the Philistines to betray him. And she did it. And after he left, she was given to his best friend. So there were some treacherous people. And they had no mercy after they plucked out Samson's eyes, rather than just let bygones be bygones and just be satisfied with the fact that, okay, now we've weakened him. They wanted to bring him out to the prison and laugh at him, dig into him even more. That's just like you got an open sore and somebody just want to dig in that sore even more. But it goes to show that God favored Samson to the day of his death by answering Samson's prayer. And he didn't tarry. He was with Samson. But we have free will, you see. And so I just want us to be cognizant of that, right? So that we can learn from Samson's errors as we continue to live out this thing called life. It's a fight, baby. Every day it's a fight. Don't give away your power. All right? So anyway, I hope you guys have a blessed, happy Sunday. I hope you enjoyed reading together with me, right? If nobody has told you that they love you today, then you know your little country bumpkin sister loves you. We are the light of the world. Let's don't never let our lights grow dark. Let's keep shining bright. And we know that the blood of Jesus, Yeshua, our friend, our brother, our Savior, that blood is the only blood that has power. It'll never lose its power. Don't let these demons come in and take your power away from you. We have to be strong. We have to crucify our flesh. The flesh wants what it wants. It wars against the spirit. So when we are walking holy and upright, it is more difficult. The enemy have to be. That don't mean he stopped. He's relentless. He become more craftier. You see? So he don't stop as long as we're in this earth. And so when you see a brother or sister that the enemy done got their hand on, don't gloat over they fall. Don't be quick to be a busybody and throw more mud on them. Pray for them. Be an intercessor. Pray. Because that same devil that got your brother or your sister today is the same one that's going to be lurking, waiting to see your weakness. And you're going to want mercy if by chance you may fall. Because if you are righteous, you can fall. It is written, a righteous man may fall 7 times, but he'll get back up. Not because he's perfect, but because he's righteous. So do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And recognize that we all really only have one enemy that is ruler over all of the fallen angels, the Decadorchi, that roam to and from trying to trip us up day and night. Right? So anyway, that's just my little 2 cents. Y'all have a blessed day.